What do you do when your customer calls you out for giving them a short loaf? You could try to make amends, apologize, maybe offer them another one, or you could just throw them in jail. It all depends on where and when you lived, specifically if you were a medieval baker. See, back then there were strict laws about how much flour had to be in your bread, and if you were caught cheating, you could be fined, imprisoned, or even put to death. Let's talk about the dark side of medieval baking, when a loaf wasn't enough. Bakers in the Middle Ages made their dough in a communal area so that everyone could see that they were making good, honest bread. After all, selling bad bread was not only bad for business, it was a sin. But sometimes people wanted more bread than they were getting. And in the 13th century, a French peasant took matters into his own hands. He complained to the local lord that his baker had given him a short loaf, and he demanded satisfaction. When the baker refused to give in, the peasant took him to court. And in 1266, King Louis IX passed a law stating that if a baker was found guilty of cheating his customers, he could be thrown in jail. And that's not the only time a baker found himself in hot water. In the 14th century, bakers in England were fined for a variety of reasons, including putting too much sawdust in their bread. That's because sawdust was cheap and it could help stretch a loaf, making more bread from less flour. But apparently it also made the bread taste like, well, sawdust. Other bakers were fined for using plaster or bones to weigh their bread, since that reduced the amount of flour they needed to buy, saving them money. And some bakers were even put to death for selling what we would call today day-old bread. In the Middle Ages, there was a huge demand for fresh-baked bread, and you could make a lot of money by selling it the same day. But if you couldn't sell all of your bread, you could bake it again the next day and sell it at a lower price. The problem was that the law didn't allow for reheated bread, so some clever bakers hid their stale loaves in the ovens while they baked new ones. The only way to tell if the bread was fresh was to break it open and look for the oven marks inside. And if the bread didn't have any, the baker was put to death. But before you feel too bad for those medieval bakers, keep in mind they also had the worst job in the world. Literally. Back then, baking was done by hand, and the baker had to start early in the morning to get the bread ready in time for market. They had to mix and knead the dough, roll it out, shape it, let it rise, roll it out again, and then bake it in a wood-burning oven. And if that wasn't hard enough, they had to do it all over again every day. No wonder they sometimes for more artisan-baked history.